What's up, guys? Luke here from the future. Apologies. I'm on a new PC. Noticed about halfway through the episode, I did not have the right mic selected. So, unfortunately, the first half of this episode's audio from my part is scuffed. Seth sounds beautiful, magnificent, marvelous, perfect as always. I sound like that guy from TikTok that's like, no, I'm not playing on my phone. I'm taking care of business. So, yeah, I apologize if it's too much to bear. Skip ahead to about the 40-minute mark and it'll get I switched to the correct mic. But yeah, thanks. Love you. Enjoy the episode. Hello and welcome to episode 48 of Rival Banter. I'm one of your hosts, Luke Croft, and joining me as always, my esteemed co-host and my doubles luge partner, ladies and gentlemen, Seth Martin.
Did you say doubles luge or devil's luge? Because I feel like those are two different games.
Have you seen an image of doubles luge? Because I think it might be the same thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Let me show the audience here. So this is doubles luge. Perhaps there we go. This is doubles luge. And in this, you're going on the sled feet first. And one of us is laying at the very bottom, and the other is just laying on top of the other with hands under the thighs. Now, Seth, having seen this image and knowing what's going on in it, which one do you think you would be, and which one do you think I would be? I think I know, but
I think you'd be. Are we talking like sexually, or are we talking about like strategically? I
yeah.
think you would be in the back. You'd be kind of our
Yeah.
anchor. And I'd be. I don't know what the front person does.
You mean
So I
the
feel
top person?
is it? Could I be considered a power top? Would
A
that
power top, yes.
is a top automatically powerful? I don't know.
Here, I'm dropping the image in the show notes. I don't know if you're in there, but
I can't be.
um, but yeah. But I mean, I agree with you here, Seth. I think that I would be the bottom and you would be the top for a multitude of reasons. I think right now in my current state, despite the fact that I've now lost 20 pounds, I'm the bigger guy, so I wouldn't want to be on top of you, suffocating you. And also, I just think your bulge would look a lot better up there than
No,
mine
this is
would.
not. I was thinking about a bobsled.
Yeah, no, this is not a bobsled. We are becoming one with each other and the sled.
This is this is something.
It certainly is. I have to imagine. I don't know what the dude on the bottom does, to be totally honest with you.
What does the dude on the top do?
I have to imagine he's the one that's kind of like dictating where the weight is being shifted on the thing, but like you have no sensory input if you're the guy on the bottom. Do these guys have
He's
position
like
names?
looking straight upwards, and you gotta really trust your buddy there. I would trust you to drive my luge.
Yeah, let's see. Are there names for the positions in doubles luge? Because it seems like that would have some weird, you know how like volleyball has a libero or whatever. It's just the
Yeah,
top man and the bottom man. So, all right, here's the Gemini overview. The athlete on the top, that would be you, is the navigator. Since they are positioned higher up and have a clearer line of sight, they are primarily responsible for steering, vision, and aerodynamics, so tucking their chin to minimize wind resistance. And then the bottom is the anchor. They are usually the larger, heavier of the two. We got that. Center of gravity. Stability, reactive steering, so feeling the pressure of the G forces, and then blind trust. And I only have one eye anyway, so.
you have two eyes.
Well, I have two eyes. I have one working eye.
Yeah, I guess.
So I have half blind trust. So I can definitely accomplish that. Anyway, Seth, I'm ready for the 2020 or 2030 Winter Olympics. If you are.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yeah. I do wonder, like, how do you get into this? Like, are there people that grow up like training just for this? Like, and
I mean, I have to imagine there are some circles out there. Like, how does one get into like dressage, the fancy horse walking?
you're rich. That's mainly, I think, how that goes.
I feel like this could be a rich person's game. Like, you just get in your skibbies. I don't see like people on the streets like in San Francisco where they have the big hills or whatever, sneaking out in the middle of the night and just trying to get a good luge in before school the next day or something like
I don't
that.
know,
Like
man.
just
Let's buy a longboard and just climb on top of each other.
see what happens.
This is Rival Banter. We get together every week and talk about all things Marvel Rivals. We're coming at you a day late because we wanted to react to this Rivals Assemble event. We'll get to that here shortly, but you can listen to us on podcast services everywhere or watch us over on YouTube. Full video podcasts are available over there. Just search up Rival Banter. If you're listening on Spotify, make sure you leave us a 5-star review. And wherever you're listening, make sure you just like, subscribe, and leave us a comment. You can also follow us on social at Rival Banter on Instagram and TikTok, and you can join our Discord at the link in the bio to talk about Marvel Rivals, share your in-game usernames that are unhinged, all that sort of stuff. Seth, let's jump into some viewer comments. You ready to get this show on the road?
I am.
Rashawn B. Drawn over on TikTok said, as a tank, I need Ghost Rider as a tank.
I like that. I vibe with that. Yeah, I think, and especially if he's got the motorcycle, like hell yeah, that would be an awesome idea. I could see him being like a diva situation where like you have the bike and then you lose the bike and then you have to. It's on like a cooldown. You have to summon the bike again after like kind of like Diva or Hulk or something like that. I absolutely love it, and I must have it.
I
I
think I
won't
like
settle for anything less.
I think I like your idea better. But I was thinking more of like a Wario situation for his ultimate, where he just kind of summons the motorcycle and can run through people. But I do agree. It's such a like staple of the character that it should certainly be like a part of his general kit and not just his ultimate.
Yeah, I think if it was the other guy, which I think there was some comment somewhere that had something to do with
Yeah, like
this.
Robbie versus somebody I don't know the lore. So
Yeah, like the other guy, I think it's Robbie is the one with like the car, and I think that would be a lot more of like an ultimate situation. I feel like you could drive a motorcycle around, navigate the map a lot faster, easier than a whole ass car. But who am I?
what if it's the motorcycle in general, and then the ultimate is the car, and the lore is in the metaverse? These two guys combined.
The luge. That's the devil's luge. It's the Ghost Rider. Just two flaming. Never
Oh man, certainly. Damn. All right. Moving on. Chicken to Fox over on TikTok said, "You're definitely right, bro. I have to tell my boys to get off and play other games because sometimes games hit us too hard." Seth, I don't often tell you when and how to get off, but sometimes we do say that to one another. We're like, all right, I think that's enough punishment for me tonight.
Yeah, well,
In
it's more
game,
like
in game.
yeah, in game, right? In
Yep.
game. I think we do that, but it's not really like us telling the other person to get off and take a break. It's maybe like implied a little bit, like it's just kind of time in general. But I never take that like you're bossing me around, like you're taking the top position or whatever, or the bottom luge position, whichever one packs the command. Um, I'm still trying to wrap my mind around the sport, but
We're new to this, but we promise you 2030, look for us, skin tight suits, luging downhill at, I don't know, 130 miles an hour, whatever that is in kilometers per hour. So,
definitely. Yeah, I feel like maybe we should. You guys kind of did that to me in a way because I was playing a lot of rivals, and now I've been barely playing any rivals because every night that we have time to play, we're playing Arc Raiders. I've been working in some extra rivals time, like on my off hours.
yeah, I've been playing some rivals by myself. I do want to get back to playing with you, mostly because, number one, I like playing with you. Number two, these rank lobbies I've been in have been absolutely fucking miserable when I'm solo queuing. So,
I've had a mix. I guess we'll talk about that at some point, but it's
yeah.
fine.
I feel like in our mid 30s now, though, like we've kind of matured past the point of like getting ultra tilted at a game to the point where we're like blinded by rage while playing. There were certainly times back in the day when I was really into like Call of Duty and Halo and whatever. Even like the early Overwatch days where I would get like mega tilted, and it probably would have been good to have a friend tell me to hop off. But Yeah, when you're 35, 36 years old, I think you can kind of self-regulate a little better.
In a perfect world, yeah.
Most people, and if you can't, you should talk to a therapist. In fact, everybody should talk to a therapist. It's great. It's something to add to your routine. But yeah, if the game just is pissing you off in your mid 30s when you have to pay taxes and shit, there's like other real stuff to get mad about. It's time to talk to somebody.
Reprioritize, yeah.
Ryan over on TikTok says, as a very casual player, I love more 1 to 2 star characters.
I like that a lot. I love it. I also will settle for nothing less than this. Why do we not have more? Why does everybody have to be like a 3 to 5 to 6 star? I don't get it.
Well, and it seems like the easiest champions that we've gotten, or the easiest heroes we've gotten over the last few seasons, have been the DPS characters for the most part. I mean, like Elsa Bloodstone is pretty straightforward. Phoenix is pretty straightforward. It's the tanks and support that they've been adding that have just the insane sort of pages, and I think that kind of hurt. I think that exasperates some of the problems we have with like filling out a 2-2-2 comp because new players come to the game, they want to play a character that's kind of easy to pick up. And a lot of those characters are just kind of in the DPS role. You know, I'm going to play Squirrel Girl, I'm going to play Iron Man. Like um,
That's a
it
cool point. Yeah.
makes it hard to get into those roles, especially if I'm coming back for that character. Like if I'm coming back for Rogue, and I'm like, oh shit, I have to know like you absorb damage with the shield, and then it does extra damage when you do the little dash forward, and she's got like 4 different dashes, and she can steal all these abilities, and like that can be discouraging for a player. So I agree with you, Ryan. Stinson Isaiah over on Instagram said gameplay over character every time for me. I love War Machine, but Angela was a better choice as the first flying Vanguard than Iron Man, but with more health and a machine gun. I really like this point, Seth, and I think that this is like, I think where everyone's head needs to be at as we get to Black Cat and White Fox coming up is just like your idea of what the perfect addition at this time would be can be just completely uh, done away with if the character that they release is well designed. And because I think you and I were talking about that too. Like War Machine would be a great flying tank. I didn't even know who Angela was before the trailers.
Right. Right. Yeah. I mean, I totally agree with this too. I now would I love to have buff ass, big ass Iron Man flying around as a tank with War Machine? Yeah, I personally would, but I do think that that was the right call to not give us that right away.
Yeah, a flying melee tank with like a spearing ability, it's a lot more engaging, I think, than just because I think with War Machine you'd run into some of the same problems you have with Ultron, where the gameplay can just like not be super engaging because you're so far away from everything and you're just
Well,
kind
I
of
don't know. I mean, I could kind of see a way in which like he flies in, kind of brawls, does like some close quarters, even if it's not like like hand to hand combat, just like some quick like you know bracer bracer arm gun thing. It's kind of like a punch combo, like with the gun, and then maybe you have like a couple of long range attacks with like missile launches and stuff. But I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
there are all kinds of things you can do with any of these characters.
for sure. And speaking of which, Trevor Sismar over on TikTok says, I'm just curious on what they're, speaking of Black Cat and White Fox, what they're going to be. I don't really see either being a support, but knowing the community, if they're anything but supports, they're going to throw another hissy fit. We're going to talk a little bit more about Black Cat and White Fox later on in the episode, but I guess I've been so like laser focused in on the discussion around who the characters themselves are that I haven't really given much thought to what role do I think that they're going to be in. And that's probably because I don't really know who the characters are, so I don't know where they'd fit. But I don't know, Seth, have you given it any thought?
Not at all, and I think for the same reasons, I hadn't really put them into words until you kind of articulated it there. And yeah, I kind of think that's part of the reason that these deep cut characters can be so appealing is that like it kind of takes some of the pressure off. Like I don't have to guess at what they're going to be as much, or I'm not like tempted to guess at who or what they're going to be. I can just kind of like take them at face value as they are. I think that's kind of part of what the appeal for Angela was to me when she came out. It's like I don't know her. I don't really have any like big expectations coming in. Have like zero idea who she is other than just uh an Odin's daughter. So yeah, I'm all aboard with this. Now, am I like super interested in these two characters? Not really, but I appreciate that they're there. Like I don't have to be in love with them to like make or break the game for me.
Yeah, and I certainly think that they can release in a way that makes me interested in them to play. But and I also just think that even with the characters that I know who they are, I have not done a great job of guessing what role they're going to be in, right? Because
I think you've done fair. I think well, I don't know. We've definitely made some mistakes.
we've hit some, we've missed some, but I mean, like the Rogue Gambit, I think are a really great example, right? We kind of had them either backwards in their roles, like we thought Gambit might be a Vanguard, Rogue would be support, or that Gambit would be a DPS and Rogue would be a support or something like that. So, um, I don't think NetEase is as beholden to maybe the idea of the size of the character. I mean, I think Emma's another really good example of somebody who I don't think anyone would have really guessed tank if, shown the roster prior to the game coming out. But here we are. So I'm just in a wait and see mode when it comes to Black Cat and White Fox, and I can be sold on them.
Hmm.
All right, guys, if you want us to respond to your comments, make sure you leave them on one of our videos on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube, or comment on our episode over on Spotify, and you might have your comment selected for next week's show. All right, Seth, I decided I'm going to give us a break for a week from the unhinged in-game names. We have some good submissions in the Discord. I know you've come across some good ones. I've got a couple that I haven't shown you in my trek, but we'll come back with that next week. Give it a little rest, and we'll come back. And in fact, I want to hear from the audience. What games have we played at this segment that you've liked? We've done the unhinged names. We've done some trivia, voice line trivia. We've done other blind rankings. We've done drafts where Seth and I are both picking. Let us know in the comments, and we'll fold back in some of those old ones. But let's jump in, Seth, and talk about our week in Rivals, which has mostly been a week in Arc Raiders for us.
Yeah, no, I mean, I still had somewhat of an eventful week. I think, I don't know where I was at last week rank wise, but I know at some point in the past couple weeks, I've deranked all the way from like Diamond 2 to Plat 1. And Plat 3 would be huge, but no, Diamond 2 to Plat 1. I've now gone back and now I'm like mid Diamond 2.
Oh,
So
Diamond too.
yeah, mid Diamond. I'm like 45 points into Diamond 2. So there's still hope. It could go either way. I think I'm gonna adopt one of my students' rules. Like I kind of have my like 2 loss limit. Like 2 losses in a night, and I'm done. I haven't been doing great this season about sticking to that because I want it so bad. But a couple of my students, they do this thing where they do 1 loss. Like we're gonna play until we lose one time and then cut it off and hope maybe I don't know if it's like maybe we can stop the algorithm from taking over or something like that, like fight the system. But I think that's what I'm gonna kind of do. Other than that stuff, I don't know if you noticed. Have you noticed anything about me today?
Hmm. You have a Jeff the Land Shark
I have
shirt
a
on.
Jeff the Land. This came in the mail today.
Let me give you the big screen here. Go
It's from
ahead.
Box Lunch. It's got like, one of the first Jeff skins, like the winter one from the first Jeff event. It's got his like, little like whatever you call it, the like kill feet symbol thing here, like this guy. Just got some Jeffs. There's Dolphin Jeff. This was a Box Lunch. We're not sponsored by Box Lunch in any way. This is me spending my money. They had a like 20% off deal going on, like site wide. So I was like, hell yeah, let's do that. So I now own this shirt. I'm trying to decide if I want to wear it to a school sponsored function. If that's appropriate, but we'll see. I also got 7 of these. They came out with the third series of Rivals pins. And, it was like buy 5, get 2 free. So, I did that, and I haven't opened them yet, but I have 7 I don't know if you can see that well, but it's Emma, Thor, Iron Man, Mantis, Hela, and Star Lord, and I play at least 3 of those characters on the regular. So I was like, let me just this is a good chance for me to hedge my bets and like at least get maybe 2 of those characters,
What are you
hopefully.
waiting on? Why no unboxing?
Well, because I like I don't know if you understand how busy I am. I like literally got home tonight from taking like, esports after school to go do karate, not do karate, but go like, watch the kids do karate at their karate lesson. Um, I ate a Subway sandwich, acquired and ate a Subway sandwich while the kids were doing karate, came here and, helped get them ready for bed and all that stuff. And then, jumped, made us some mushroom coffee, jumped down here. But so I'm like opening a couple of them right now as we speak. I don't know if there's any like ASMR stuff going on here.
Yeah, this is exhilarating. What'd you
Hell
get?
yeah.
Oh, you got
Thor,
Thor.
baby. I got
Nice.
Thor, baby. It's a good pull. Um, all right, good stuff. I feel like this one's bigger than the other ones, but I haven't gotten any in a while. They've just been sitting on a shelf for
Yeah,
me.
I need to go to box lunch again. We drove by the mall this weekend, and I was like, damn, we should have stopped. But I bought a new PC, and I just wanted to get home.
Yeah, yeah. I haven't been able to find, and I think the like online shops sold out of a bunch of the like the first 2 series. So I saw that the every once in a while I'll just like Google it to see. I only had like those first 3 or something like that. I never found anymore. Star Lord.
Nice, very
Okay.
nice.
So far, so good. No doubles, no doubles, no. Well, it's got to be some double.
I was going to say you have 7 of them, and there's only 6 options.
Statistically,
So yeah, it's
I'll
kind of.
give. I might give one away to somebody.
Now, Seth,
I'm not
while you're
good at
opening
this.
those, if I may suggest,
Sure.
this shirt, amazing shirt, love it.
Thank
Do
you.
they have other characters, or is this the only one?
I don't. I mean, they have like T-shirts and stuff.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I know for a while they've had like Fantastic Four. They've got a whole bunch of like the character shirts. This is the only one like this, and I'm very much like a person who wears shirts like these. Because I feel like they're like a perfect blend of like
professional
Thor,
but
Thor.
personality.
Yeah. So, maybe not professional, but kinda like you could wear them to the beach or you could wear them
Oh
for
yeah, versatile,
my
versatile.
kinda job, you know?
Hmm.
The 3rd pull was another Thor, by the way, so,
Yeah,
hopefully we just got that out of the way. So, now I'm gonna be, like, looking out for more of these. I feel like Jeff's a great character for a shirt like this.
yeah.
I don't feel like Thor or, like Emma would be as strong for, like, a nice shirt, but could be wrong, you know?
Well, I think my suggestion was going to be. I know you're a big beach boy.
Mama, I got mommy.
Very nice.
That's Emma.
Um, let me give you the big screen again. Show that to us one more time, Seth. I love these
There she
pins. I
is.
need to go check these out.
I do too. If I could get like all of them, I have like a dream of creating like the character wheel on
Oh yeah,
like a cork board or something like that.
yeah, that would be fun. But I'm thinking that like you're a beach boy. Wear that bad boy with no shirt underneath and only like 3 buttons buttoned.
I've got a
While you're
little
eating
bit.
at like Cheeseburger in Paradise. I don't know if that's still in Myrtle Beach, but
I don't think. I think it's like a like It's like a Greek or like Middle Eastern restaurant of some kind now. I think. Oh,
you're in
second mommy,
Paradise.
second mommy. um, yeah. So now I think I've got a little bit too much belly going for that, but I don't know. People do. I don't know. I feel like
It's
I got a
less
feeling
about the
if I
belly,
really get
man, and just more. Are you? Do you have chest hair?
just a little bit, it's real
See, I've
thin.
got a lot of chest hair, so I'm a big guy, but I sometimes in the summer I like rocking something a little lower cut. Let that chest
Gotcha,
hair quaff
gotcha.
in the wind.
I do. My confidence like escalates when I'm at the beach. I guess it's just like being relaxed. So
Mm-mm.
you know,
Your
whatever.
confidence is going to go through the roof after doubles luge, and feeling another man's body against yours like that.
Yeah, nothing ain't nothing better. Here's an Iron Man.
Very nice. I like it.
I've got one more. Really, that was fast.
Dude, this is why I can't get into like I've tried to get into like collecting cards, like baseball cards or Pokemon cards or whatever, and I just tear through them so quick, and then I just want more to open, and it's
Yeah,
just
that's how they get you.
yeah. So
Thor got a third Thor.
All right.
So
So
yeah, I will
you got,
definitely be giving away one or two of these to like a student, maybe. Somebody at school or on the team. That's kind of was my goal with this. They're a little expensive for they're like 12.50 a pin,
yeah.
but they're also just like so cool. There's like a little texture to them. Um, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I got to stop in a box lunch and pick up something. Maybe we can trade what we don't get. So,
I like that.
um, uh, yeah. As far as in game this week for me, I played mostly solo queue. We played a few ranked games together, but I am currently sitting right on the edge of diamond again because I dropped back down into plat. Had a game today, dude, where just like we we rolled up against the triple support with an Ultron, and we were running like I think we had like a Magic was our only DPS. No, we had a Moon Knight that was our only DPS, and it's like Moon Knight should be feasting. But he wasn't like taking any angles to get on because he was just kind of like running at the team with us, so he wasn't getting anything accomplished. And we ended up going like three tank, three healer at one point, one tank, two DPS, three healer. Like we were just all over the board and just could never get it together. And people were bitching about the comp in the game, but I was like, guys, we haven't had a team fight since we lost the first fight. Like we just trickled to the point. So it doesn't matter what comp we run because you have to play as a unit of 6 to win almost any fight, but especially against triple support. And I was saying I had like 15k damage, but I wasn't really doing it, like wasn't securing any kills. And I feel like that's been a lot of my games lately where it's just like the team can't get on the same page. That game was weird because we had like Invis, Cloak, and Gambit all banned. So like we were down to like Rocket and Luna as our healers or whatever. So it was a strange game overall. Um, and I bought myself a new PC for my birthday because my old PC has been just a pain in my ass, both for work and professionally, just not getting the job done. So decided I'd bite the bullet. I was going to build my own PC, but Seth, have you seen RAM prices lately?
I barely know what RAM is. You know this about me.
Yeah. So it was hard drives. It was GPUs that were like crazy because of like Bitcoin and all that. But now with the AI boom, RAM is now the next victim of price inflation. And I told my dad this when I went home for Christmas, but because he was asking me about my PC. And I told him I saved 2 sticks of 32 gig DDR5 RAM back at the beginning of last year for $80. It was around my birthday last year. Um, and I saved it on Amazon in like my build because I was gonna like buy parts as I could just afford them. When I went to look at those in November, those same sticks of RAM that were $80 were now over $600. So my dream of building a PC went up in smoke. I went to Best Buy and was looking at pre-built and found one that was pretty reasonably priced with a nice uh, RTX 5070 Ti in it. So a good graphics card, 32 gigs of RAM for like $1,500. So I was like, sold because it's going to be cheaper than building it myself. So been getting my legs back under me in Rivals on mouse and keyboard, and I'm good with some characters that I'm good with on console, and I'm bad with other characters that I'm good with on console. I was playing Cloak and Dagger. I just could not get my head around like what my
I've tried
trade
her on
was, and
PC a little
yeah,
bit too. Like it had some school matches or whatever, and yeah, it's a different ball game for sure.
yeah. Um, I love playing like Arc Raiders on mouse and keyboard. It helps me like manage my inventory and stuff, but yeah, I just got to put more hours in before I jump into ranked on PC. So, all right, Seth, let's jump into the news. We have a couple new skins coming to the game. Our main topic for the day is going to be the Rivals Assemble event. So, if you're wondering why we're not talking about that at the top, that is why. All right, so let me fix something here. All right, so we've got the cursed Captain America skin coming this week. That'll be the first one that we're taking a look at. Um, Seth, what do you think of this skin? You're a Captain America
I
guy.
absolutely love this skin. I'm like head over heels for this skin. I know I usually say that like a skin is sold ahead of time. But like this is like sold. It's just I like the black on black. It's just classy. It's got a little bit of red to it. Um,
He looked
I
like the knights that say knee.
yeah, a little bit. Don't ruin it for me, man.
No, it's
No,
not a bad thing. That's
yeah.
like the best, one of the best scenes in that movie.
I like the emote is awesome. Apparently it's I haven't read Berserk, but I think somebody I saw in the comments said that this was a reference to Berserk or something like that.
Uh,
Some manga.
the one of
There's
them like
actually
leaning on the stump.
yeah, there's actually a panel in the comments way down from the affordable artist. Um, okay, I might read that one day. It looks cool. But anyway, yeah, I love this skin. This is awesome. I've been playing more and more Cap. Like he's kind of my other go-to in competitive matches when I'm tanking now. It seems like every once in a while I'll pull out a strange, but when I'm like the mag isn't cutting it, like when I need to kind of be able to jump back and forth from the front line to the back line, I feel like Cap's just like an easy way to do that. So like you can kind of be in all places at once and deal some damage. This is sold. I'm like actively looking forward to buying this tomorrow.
Let me offer you this compliment, Seth. Your ability to switch between like strange or mag with the very static gameplay into playing a cap and doing it effectively always kind of blows my mind because it's like
I appreciate that.
because you do it well. Like when you
I
switch the cap to stall, it's like it's always pretty effective.
I never understood in Overwatch, like and then now it was like a different time in life, and I didn't play like nearly as much of that game. But I never it always boggled my mind watching Overwatch League and being like, man, how do you know when to switch, like when to flex that well or like the exact moment? And I feel like the more I've played this, like eventually it just kind of started clicking. Now I definitely don't always make the right calls for sure. It's like you kind of have to read what the other team's doing, and then sometimes they can read your read and like anticipate it, react, you know, within moments of you doing your thing. But I'm like kind of happy with myself in that I've kind of like started to figure out when to flex and that I'm not feeling as like locked in to like one person. I've got to do this for this, like the rock paper scissors mechanic that we've talked about so often.
Oh, well, and I think like even thinking about those things in the game is half the battle for a lot of hero shooter players, right? Like so many people just want to come in and play the character they want to play, which there's nothing wrong with that. But once you start thinking about like how your characters are interacting with both your team and countering what's on the other team, I think just even having that thought puts you ahead of the curve in a lot of ways. So and I really got into like meta and counter picks and all that sort of stuff when I started getting into like Overwatch esports and that sort of thing. And yeah, but yeah, I do think it is one of those. Just the more you play, the more you start to understand what those counters are, and it gets kind of second nature, right? Where you're like, like you kind of have that internal clock where you're like, do I need to switch to strange to get port? Do I?
Yeah, and you kinda start responding instead of I feel like when you first start, you kinda feel like you have to respond to the other team's characters, and to some degree you do, but I feel like a lot of the time it's more so responding to the situation, instead of, like, responding to those particular characters. If, depending on how the other team's playing, what they're doing with who they're playing, that kinda thing.
Yeah, definitely. One second, Seth. My apologies.
It's okay.
I'm just checking something out here. Sorry, everyone, if the audio has been weird. Oh my gosh, you got to be fisting me.
What's wrong?
I think I've been recording on my. Actually, I no.
It's like it's making noise when you do that.
Okay, maybe it's the right mic. I hope it's the right mic. It's not showing it's the right mic, but that's not a huge deal. Okay, anyway, sorry. If the audio is weird, I'm recording on a new PC and I'll get things straight. I promise. Don't be
Are we at
disappointed in
least
me.
making noise?
We're
Or at
making
least
noise. It's picking
okay.
something up. So
Okay.
um, anyway, next skin is the Psylocke once captive Corsair skin. This was the skin that we saw in the preseason artwork that we were like, who is that? We thought it was Elsa Bloodstone at first, but this is the Psylocke skin. What do you think of this one, Seth?
That's cool. I do feel like, it is really easy to mistake that for Elsa Bloodstone. I think it's becoming more and more clear to me why, like, some competitive scenes don't allow you to wear skins because of that readability and the moment to moment fighting. But, when you also see them attacking and stuff, I feel like you're able to tell a little bit easier. It's cool. I wonder, I'd be more interested to know, like, what Larry thinks of this skin, as a longtime Psylocke main.
I guarantee you, if we show it to him, he's like, I'm buying it. So, and it's not a legendary skin, which is like kind of surprising. I think the last few Psylocke skins we've gotten have been legendary. So, um, but yeah, I'm not a big Psylocke player. I'm also not a big Cap player, so I'm not super excited about any of these skins. But I do like that Cap skin a lot, and I like it more because he looks like one of the knights that save me. Tis but a scratch. Were you in the drama class with me when I did that scene?
I don't remember that, but you know me, I don't know,
Yeah, blacked out
I,
most of high school.
I really don't know how it's happening, but like I just like people tell me things that happened to me or that I
Oh
did.
yeah, that shit happens to me too.
I have
Yeah,
no like that meant way more to you than it did to me, or something like that. And not in a bad way. I kind of wish I could remember some of this cool stuff. Like,
yeah.
oops,
But I did the nights that say me scene with somebody. I don't even remember who it was when I was taking theater classes in high school. And I remember I committed to the bit, and when he gets his second leg cut off, my knees hit the ground, and everybody thought I had injured myself. But I was just like, I'm an actor, guys.
and that
This just comes with the territory. And I walked around as if I had no limbs for like 3, 4 days before. I don't know. You can't really walk around as if you have no limbs, but
you hobbled,
yeah,
like
yeah,
probably like kind of hopped.
method acting.
Hmm.
So, all right, we've got some new patch notes coming to the game with an update tomorrow. Obviously, all the skins that we just talked about are coming to the game, and an emoji bundle for the once captain Corsair. But Chrono-Rush is coming back, Seth.
Oh yeah,
How
yeah. I feel like
many?
that. I'm glad that we've taken this kind of like break in the past like couple weeks from rivals to do arc raiders because I feel like that's gonna like enable me to spend a lot more time getting these sweet, sweet chrono tokens to get my sweet, sweet units.
Yeah, I'm a little bit in the season 7 waiting room right now because I'm not like particularly fond of where the meta's at, but I do love a good Chrono Rush event. I do love getting all my units stacked up, so I'm ready to jump back. I'm ready to have my heart broken again in ranks with you.
Oh yeah.
So love that. Also got some fixes and optimizations coming. Uh, some Iron Fist stuff that's being fixed, and then Angela has a bug that's being fixed, and a Doctor Strange bug that's being fixed. But Seth, I want to talk about a bug that I keep encountering, and I feel like I'm going a little insane because I feel like it's something so game breaking that it should be addressed. So I'm like, am I in just the overwhelming minority of players that's experiencing this? But it happens at least 4 or 5 times a night where I'm like, Seth, did you get the ult line for that ult? We were playing the other night. We were in a pretty important fight. I was playing his cloak, and I just got stomped on by a Thor ult, but I never got the line for it. And I'm encountering it mostly on like the Clintar Dom map, on Idrisil's path, and maybe some others. But those are the two main ones, and it's mainly happening with like Strange Portal into Strange ult, or like when I'm playing Thing, he doesn't do his ult line when I ult on the Clintar Dom map. Have you encountered this bug at all?
Well, like what you've talked about before, I kind of like the game audio is pretty low key in my ears. So like sometimes I don't know if it's me missing it or if it's just like just hearing it, but I'm not hearing it. I definitely have not heard some old lines from time to time. I couldn't give you like, specific maps or any like concrete data. But yeah, I mean, we've both had those times where like I did not hear that thing pop off. I feel like for me, it's thing very often and it's Doctor Strange very often. Like those seem to be the two biggest that I encounter. So you're not making it up in your head. Like I said, I just can't like talk on my own about how often I'm hearing it because again, like my audio is so kind of low so that I can like prioritize communicating with you guys when I'm playing that like I can hear what I need to hear for the most part, but I could definitely lose some things like random audio lines or interactions here and there. So an alt line maybe, but I feel like I can normally hear those.
Yeah, the other stuff I don't care about, right? But like especially playing support, it's so important for me to know when somebody's ulting. Because like playing Cloak and Dagger, if it's a Thorald, I can easily fade a Thorald. But if you don't get the line, what do you I remember that one specifically because I was taking damage and I was like, what the fuck is damaging me? And then Thor just landed on me, stunned me, and killed me. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess Thor was ulting. Let us know in the comments if you guys have been experiencing that bug too, because I'm curious how widespread it is. Because I don't feel like I've seen a lot on like the subreddit or anything like that either. But it's been like a couple seasons now since the Clintar map was added that this has been happening to me.
Yeah, we've definitely been talking about it for a while in game.
All right, so now we've got a article from Sumyajit Mukherjee over on Fandom Wire that I wanted us to talk about. It says, with Marvel Rivals in its worst state, it's time NetEase Games address the elephant in the room. Do you have a chance to look at this article, Seth?
I skimmed through it a little bit earlier. Yeah.
I'm not going to read the whole thing for you. We'll link it in the description if you guys want to check it out. But I thought it was a good article because I think it struck a good balance between the unreasonable expectation that a live service game is going to be able to maintain its day one player base in any kind of meaningful capacity, with the idea that maybe Rivals has lost a little more than they probably should with a game that's been as popular as it is. And it did a pretty good job, I think, of outlining why some of these issues have been presented. So, but basically, it starts off talking about how the Steam peak of over 644,000 concurrent players has been cut by roughly 85%, with the average now sitting closer to 60 to 90,000 players. Now, this is just Steam, but I think Steam can be kind of extrapolated out to other platforms as well. So, and he really kind of lays it out with they're constantly kind of releasing overtuned characters. The balance of the game has been kind of its weak point over time, and they haven't really built in the time to course correct for themselves. What did you think about what you were able to kind of skim in this article, Seth?
I mean, I definitely think there's some points there for sure. I have like heard, and maybe it's just the elos that we're playing in. I've like heard that people are just like going crazy over Elsa and like what she can do. I don't feel like I never see Elsa in most of the lobbies that I play in, whether it's quick play or whether it's like playing in like mid to low diamond or whatever high plat. I don't feel like she's as much of a force as I kind of hear people saying she is, but again, that might be just different servers, different lobbies. You just never kind of know what you're going to run into. I do think that people tend to be just like stacked when they do come out as like fresh characters. But I don't know. I hate to like go with the rhetoric. Like there's such like loaded phrases and words in this article. Like it's bleeding players. Like of course it is. Like how many games? Like they mention like within lines of saying stuff like that um every live service game does the same kind of thing. So I don't know. I feel like this article and like lots of others like it are kind of doom and gloom, but I personally may just not be tuned in to kind of what the wider audience is saying. These are definitely problems, but I don't think that they're not problems that at least make me and most of the people with whom I'm in contact like just want to stop playing the game or
Mhm.
just drop the game. Like it's a busy world out there. There are games coming out all the time. That's kind of like the biggest problem with video games right now is that there's just like too many of them for the market. So, I mean, as long as they're able to sell skins and we're able to keep doing like the competitive scene and, like kind of watch this thing grow, I'm cool with it. And I'm sure that they're going to get it there to, where it's going to be. We've already seen the meta and the game at large kind of ebb and flow with success and popularity, but like and just like the kind of overall feel of the game. I'm I don't know. I kind of I always like kind of cringe when I read articles of this nature that are just like, yeah, you got to figure out something, or it's not looking good.
Yeah, I think I definitely get what you're saying, and I think that um as funny of as an opinion as this might be from two guys that have a podcast where we opine about this game for an hour to an hour and a half every week, but I do think sometimes the discourse around gaming is just way too serious, right? And like people want to approach conversations with like I get some of it is probably like good-willed and like has good intentions, but I think most of the time people just want to be right and they want to be different in the gaming space. And so they'll like jump into a conversation. They're like, here's my 12 points that I want to get out as to why this game is broken. Um, I think a broken game though can still be fun. I think an imbalanced game can still be fun. And I think we can sometimes let the conversation get in the way of the fun that we're trying to have. And it's like we can want the game to improve in these sorts of ways without everything being a give us what we want now or we're boycotting the game, like and I think that that's kind of where the rivals community has been for the last 6 7 months, where it's like listen to us now, give us what we want now or we're gonna have an uproar. It's like I think there's a good balance between nuanced and informed discourse and patience to let them absorb the feedback because there's so many people that have opinions about this game that are giving them and saying what needs to be done, that I think sort of synthesizing that information and turning it into something actionable is really hard. But that being said, like I do think that he there's like a section in here where he talks about NetEase is one hero per month promise may be backfiring. And I do want to read a little section of this because I think that this kind of hits the nail on the head of where I think a lot of the sort of tension and strain with the development team is coming from. But so starting with season three, NetEase shortened each season to 2 months and committed to releasing one new hero per season half, which works out to roughly one new character every month. The announcement drew plenty of excitement at the time, and understandably so. And then I think this is the crux right here. The problem, however, is that character development pipelines run months ahead of what players actually see. The characters dropping into the game right now were finalized several months ago, meaning NetEase has very little room to course correct based on community feedback before those heroes are already in players' hands. What the community is experiencing today is the result of design decisions made long before any uh, anyone knew how the current meta would look. And I think that that really is like where the rubber meets the road on this conversation. Like it's breakneck pace from a development standpoint, to release a new character every month. And, a balanced patch might take a few weeks of deliberation. A new character design takes months of deliberation. And the timelines aren't just matching up. I do think that there's some things that they could do to improve this, Seth. So let me see what you think about these ideas. Here are my 12 ideas for how to improve. I'm just kidding. That's called a call.
Ah,
But I do have a few ideas. Number one, I think we should get earlier playtest weekends with new characters, before they get released just completely out into the wild, so that there's like a focus time for feedback, a focus intake form for feedback, so that that can be taken to the balance team, and they can start to try to mold the characters around the way that the game is being played, kind of at large, rather than just like the internal playtest that they have going on. Because right now, the first time anyone gets their hands on these characters is a day or two before the patch with like the creator content, in the like public test realm. So that's I think that's one of my first ideas. What do you think about that?
love it, love it.
My second idea is rather than one character every month, what if they did two characters every 2 months? So you're bouncing around the addition of two new characters at one time, and you're in that middle season patch, the season 6.5 patch is trying to balance around both of those new characters rather than introducing a new unknown variable into the mix at large.
That's really interesting. I Yeah, like it seems like a lot and a little at the same time. Like you've kind of got like like a much you've got twice the gap between characters. But then again, like you're kind of waiting, you're being rewarded for waiting, right? Because you get two new characters that are coming out at the same time, and you might see kind of like bigger meta shifts that kind of keep the game more fresh for longer, so fresher and longer. I think that's kind of awesome. I'm sure there are some drawbacks to it for sure, but I don't know. Like, seems like it kind of fixes some of the problems that we've laid out and that this article lays out.
And then my third and final idea is this, Seth. If they're going to stick to the month schedule, having a mid-season patch for each, where that's when the new character gets added into competitive. So the first 2 weeks, quick play only. You're taking feedback from people who are playing it in quick play. They're not ruining ranked matches like Elsa did before her patch, like Daredevil did for a long time before his nerfs. So 2 weeks to kind of gather feedback, a mid-season patch at the 2 week mark that adds them into competitive, makes some balance changes, and then just repeat it for the next half season.
Love it. I do like that. I do think like especially like maps, especially too, right? Like the fact that we got, the Howard the Duck Doctor Strange float thing at the end of Museum of Contemplation for that final push. Like the fact that that's a competitive map now that I've like considered it just blows my mind. And the fact that like it just kind of here it is, it just like leapt into the scene, and we've got to figure out a way around it. Yeah, I do think that the game would definitely benefit from kind of a trial period, even if it's like 1 week or something like that, just kind of like some time to get your feet wet. But yeah, 2 weeks seems like kind of that's enough time for anybody that's mildly interested in the game to kind of get a feel for it, give them time to actually get to play them in like a regular 6v6 comp. So yeah, I like that idea a lot.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, let's move on, Seth, to our topic of the day. The Rivals Assemble event took place last night in LA. It's the reason that we delayed this show a day. And we've got some news that came out of it. And we'll start with the news, and then I want to talk about the event as a whole. So let's start with the first one. Biggest piece of news I think that they came out with during the event was the Rivals Path to Doomsday. So they announced that there's going to be a new PvE mode that either gets like updated or changed every few months. And each one will kind of pay homage to the Avengers movies. So in April, we're going to get the Avengers. June, we'll get Avengers Age of Ultron. August, we'll get Infinity War. October, we'll get Endgame. And then in December, that's when Doomsday comes out. And there will be a lot of kind of co-marketing happening inside the game in conjunction with that, including in this PvE mode. Thoughts on this, Seth?
I mean, I think this is really cool. I can't wait to see what it is. I hope that it's all pretty kind of new and exciting. I this th- they did mention, I guess the first one is going to be this Loki thing, right? That we're going to be talking
Yeah.
about next. So that does sound intriguing. It sounds definitely different than any of the PVE stuff that we've gotten so far. So I'm pretty optimistic about this part myself.
I can't remember where I saw the leak, and I wish I had the link in here, but yeah, so the leak basically says that the mode is like a 3v1 where it's one like souped up Loki against three other characters. And then the leak continues and says that then they'll do the same thing, that same mode with Ultron as the person that you're fighting. And then they'll do the same thing with Thanos as the enemy that you're fighting.
Mm,
And all that kind of lines up with what they have officially revealed with like the Loki skin and also just kind of how this is following the Avengers timeline here. Um, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about more PVE. We talked about it last week. I think they've done a really good job of kind of improving the PVE modes that they're putting out. It seems a little more thoughtful than some of the earlier PVE modes that were released, or even like special event modes. Um, I do kind of worry if it's like 3v1, if it's gonna feel like zombies boss fights, because like that was kind of the model when you're facing like uh the giant Scarlet Witch in zombies or whatever, and is like Loki just going to be a big bullet sponge that you have to try to kill. But I'm curious what unique mechanics they'll add to this sort of asymmetric boss fight.
Now, is the Loki a player
No,
control character? Okay, it's gonna be an NP like a
yeah,
okay, okay.
yeah, these are PVE modes, so
I guess that's true, yeah,
yeah,
that makes I don't know what I'm thinking, I'm tired.
all
Leave me
good.
alone.
um, no, I like this though, and I like the tie into the Marvel, cinematic universe in this way, tying it to the Avengers movies. I think it kind of brings a common language to the game that is even like more of a common language than just the characters themselves. Like this was such a cultural phenomena. This whole series, kind of bringing it to ground in game, I think is going to be really good for bringing new players in. With the leak, Seth, talking about Thanos as the third opponent that will be added. Do you think he'll be added as a playable character as well?
I don't know. My kind of long running theory has been that like they want to kind of leave the like S tier, the god tier villains alone, like kind of leave them out of the game just because they might be like too much. So like adding it in as an NPC that you can fight like in a PvE game mode, I think that's a little more doable. But I feel like if you're gonna go through the trouble to make a character that you could fight, you've like they've got to be coming in some form or another at some point to the game, right? So I think that'd be awesome. I think like almost if it's October that this game would be launching, this game mode rather, that's almost 2 years that the game's been out. So that might be a great time to add somebody like that into the game. Like, like we've waited long enough. Here's our first just like super villain that we're getting. Like we've had Ultron, he's kind of mid tier, but like he's whatever. Thanos is like the guy, especially for like the first 10 years or so of that. The first three phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic on that one.
I think it'd be really cool in this kind of mode rather than every single one being like a 3v1 is if it grows as it goes on, because you think about the movies, and I haven't seen all of the Avengers movies to be totally honest with you, but if my the little glimpses I've gotten are to be trusted, you can correct me, Seth. There's more superheroes involved in each one, right?
Are you saying, like, progressively
Yeah,
more?
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, it's kinda been the nature of it, and, like so, like, Avengers was really, like, like, the kinda, like, main quartet or whatever, I'm not counting in my head, so I'm just using that word. It's like, you got, um, Cap, Hulk, Thor, and Iron Man. Probably forgetting somebody. I know, like, Hawkeye and Black Widow are kinda there on the side, but everybody was there for those, like, main 4 who had, like, movie franchises launch already. And then I feel like Ultron was kind of we might have had, like that's where we got Vision, um, and I think along the way, we had gotten, like, Scarlet Witch and, like, a Captain America movie somewhere between, the 2 movies. Um, and then, like, there were way more, like, Thor and well, actually, I guess Thor was in the Avengers too, in
yeah.
the first movie, sorry. Um, but, like, we've kinda progressively gotten more. If you think about it, which is kinda wild, it's been, like, almost 10 years since the last Avengers, like, the last full-on Avengers movie with Endgame. And when it was, like, only, like, 2 to 3 years between movies for, like, the first 4 of them. So, if not sooner, I think there was only, like, a year between Infinity War and Endgame. So, like, I don't know, there's, like in the meantime, they've done so much other stuff, like, we've had all these other people that have had movies and TV shows, and we haven't seen them in the larger MCU at all, like, in any of these kinda, like, monster mashup movies. So, like, Doomsday from what I understand and like the cast stuff that they've released so far is it's going to be astronomical because they're adding that's going to be like the movie where we're getting all the X-Men in there. We're going to see the Fantastic Four in there. We're going to see all the other people that we've gotten. I think Shang-Chi and some other people are in there to some degree as well. They're in something coming out. So yeah, I think we're getting to like the bonkers phase, the phase of these movies where I don't know how much longer they can be sustainable before we have to start rebooting things. But I'm sure that's a problem that Kevin Feige and the boys have thought about at Marvel Studios.
Yeah. I bring that up just to say it'd be cool if the like either the roster of selectable characters or even the number of players per lobby increases as these come out. Whereas, like, when you get to Endgame and you're going up against Thanos, that like
Mm,
it's 12 players versus Thanos or whatever, and you're like having to put it together like that. I think something like that would be cool. Um, but I think, if Thanos is the big bad in one of these and he gets added as a playable character, I think the next kind of natural question is, does that mean Doctor Doom gets added as a playable character as well? I mean, he's got, he's been referenced in the story. I don't know. We haven't seen a character model of him. We've only seen him in like animations,
mhm.
but yeah, does Doctor Doom come in and become a roster character at the end of the year?
Yeah, I mean, he's like a natural fit, I feel like, and I feel like he would be fun as hell to play. Like he's got a great balance of like physical and like magical attacks. Um, he- I would love to play him. He's one of the I think I've said before, he's one of the like main reasons I'm excited for Tokon Fighting Souls coming out later
Mm-hmm.
this year because like a Doctor Doom is just badass in a lot of ways. So yeah, I would love for all this stuff to happen. Hopefully without breaking the game in the meantime.
And I hope the same voice actor that plays Tony Stark in Marvel Rivals would play Doctor Doom as
Fitting,
well.
fitting.
Yes. Speaking of the MCU, they also announced the new MCU Loki skin that will be coming out in conjunction with the game mode. I honestly don't see how this is much different than his current suit, but I don't know. Maybe you can help me out here.
Yeah, I mean, not she's one of my least played characters in the game, so I couldn't tell you that much. I think the horns are just a lot bigger, than his, like, standard kit when you his, like, standard skin when you first, open the game. That's kinda like his helmet from or his, like, whatever you call it from, the movie. He like, that first Avengers movie, he had this just long ass set of horns. They're, like, ridiculously large set of horns, kinda like Hela, in one of the later movies, so in Ragnarok, I think it was.
Yeah, I'm looking at these skins sort of side by side now, and I mean, I guess I can see a little bit of a difference, but I don't know. To me, it's like I mean, the horns are the same size. I think maybe the helmet looks a little bit different, but
It's, like, more pronounced kinda, like
yeah. But overall, I
okay.
just don't feel like it's that different. Therefore, not that exciting to me.
Yeah, I think the helmet is more like there's kinda more to it, and maybe this is the staff different?
Oh, let's see. I didn't even think to look at that. Yeah, a little bit different. I mean, it's
A
like
little bit.
it's different colored, but
It's one of those things, like, it's kinda like the Scarlet Witch, issue where, like, like, how much can you do with her? Like, she's red, and then she's red, and she's red again, and, like, now she's wearing a little bit less, but everything's still red, and, like,
they
it
got
took
some
it took
purple.
until, like, we changed her to, like, we gave her purple hair and some black, but then it's like she's almost unrecognizable, so, like, how do you fix that issue? Is it an issue? I don't think about it too often, but, I don't know.
Yeah. Uh, then they also, again teased Black Cat and White Fox in a post that they made. This is the tweet. It says, hold on, 2026 is packed with brand new heroes, content, and more. This year we'll be turning up the heat to bring exciting new game modes, jaw-dropping maps, and exclusive new PvE modes. The battlefield yearns for fiery battles, and we're here to spark it up. Stay tuned, rivals. A master thief and secret agent collide in New York for an impossible mission. Find out more as season 7 approaches. And I, again, don't know who Black Cat and White Fox are, but DC Brenton over in our Discord server does know. And he mentioned that this is almost certainly a hint at the Master Thief and Secret Agent are definitely Black Cat and White Fox references here. We already kind of talked about them, Seth. Uh, any final thoughts to put on that before we jump into just the roadmap?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. I'm kind of waiting to give like my larger thoughts. I want to see if you can explain this event to me a little bit more by the end. But yeah, go for it. Roadmap.
Okay. So yeah, they put out this roadmap, quote unquote. It says 2026. I'm reading you all. I'm going to read you every single word that's on this thing. All right. Marvel Rivals logo. Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals. 2026 in between two lines. New heroes, new maps, new costumes, new game modes, new PVEs, new systems, and more. And Seth, I feel like they could have just taken this from, the 12, 14 words that are on this and just said, we're going to keep making it. We're still making the game.
Like what? It's not news. It's just like this is we're gonna continue to do what we've been doing this whole time. I am maybe you can explain the I was kind of expecting like this barrage of news to come out of this thing. I'm so glad that we did not fly to California. Not that we
Yeah,
really talked about it
seriously.
that much.
But I
Like,
mean, look, if this, like I said, if this would have been on a weekend, I would have been much more tempted to try, and we would have been thoroughly disappointed, I believe.
yeah, I mean, it seemed like I was kind of like checking like Facebook posts and stuff like that last night, and I started seeing like around like 10 o'clock here in the east. I started seeing I think some things drop, and all of this was there, and I'm like, that's it. That's all there is. And I saw this one particularly, and I'm like, that's just the game. That's just the so
New
yeah, I am
skins, you don't say.
really? We don't get them every week? Every week. Um, I mean, it's great. I do think, like, especially the PvE stuff, I guess, is kinda like the big news
Yeah,
that they've got, but yeah, like, I feel like this had to have taken, like, no longer because there was also they had, like, this kinda large I don't know if you'd call it, like, a supercut or whatever, but, like, I saw a video, it was, like, 15 minutes long, they posted it was, like, all the kind of, like, main cutscenes that they've added, like, like, the stuff that you see when you're logging into the game, the new character reveal trailers and stuff like that, and that took, like, 15 minutes. I feel like going through all this news couldn't have taken longer than 15 minutes, so I'm imagining, like, just, like, a 30-minute sit down like a panel and then game over. Like, here's have a cocktail, some hors d'oeuvres, and you know, be on your way. I'm so glad we didn't fly across the country
yeah.
to do this thing.
The whole thing was very strange to me, and I said this in the Discord to the community yesterday before the event even happened. I was like, is it just me, or does it feel like we haven't heard anything else about this event outside of just the post that they put out a couple weeks ago? Like, there was no live stream of it. They were just kind of like releasing social posts, not even like full on videos. Um, During it, I kind of got reminded that stuff was being announced when I like opened up YouTube and saw like a Marvel Rivals community post with like the Avengers tie-in stuff. And yeah, so like most of it was obviously like uh the voice cast panel, and they had like a cosplay contest and like live Q&A and that sort of stuff. But I like have you seen anything from the Q&A, like any interesting clips or any, like I don't even know if it was recorded for us to know what was said. Like
Yeah, yeah.
and it was just such like a weird disconnect between what the event sounded like via the post versus what the reality of it was. And when you've got Guang Guang and the publishing and marketing lead and Danny Koo like coming to this thing, you expect there to be like a lot of information, and you expect like the entire fandom to be kind of folded into the conversation and not just this small exclusive group that is in or around LA that was able to go on a random Tuesday night in March.
Yeah, I feel like, we've gotta stop overestimating what these kinds of things are gonna be. This is, like, the 3rd time that we've
That's
just,
true.
like which, like, it's not like we're, like, totally, like, just let down by the thing. If I had flown to California for this, I would have been let down. I would have been, like, in a kind of a dark place
Yeah.
probably after spending all that money, but, and, the time and whatever, but, yeah, this, just, like, between the Times Square stuff, the New Year's Eve stuff, now this, I yeah, I feel like I'm gonna start underestimating what these things are gonna be from here on out.
But the thing is like the New Year's Eve stuff, like those other things that you mentioned, I can look back in retrospect and be like, my bad. That was my fault.
Yeah, yeah,
This
to
one
be
I think is a little different. Like you're doing a big in-person event, you're hyping it up. You've got like these big wigs from the company coming. You're gathering all these voice actors to come, and it's on a random Tuesday. Like it felt like this should be more than it was going to be. Like this is the one that I don't look back on and think my bad. I think NetEase is bad on this one.
bad NetEase.
I just think like there's a lot of it was such a good opportunity to kind of meld the in-person event with the overall online community, bring us all together in a unique way. Like I remember the heyday of Overwatch 1 and like BlizzCon was such a big deal, right? Because they had all this sort of stuff, the cosplay contest, the Q&As, but they also had like big announcements, big gameplay. Like I wish that they would have maybe put a little more thought and effort and energy, even like a PvE mode trailer or teaser outside of just like an image.
I would be much, much happier with something like that, like some concrete evidence, like a proof of concept, something like that, not just, "Here's a timeline. Here, like, we took these, like, thumbnails of the movie titles, like the title cards from the internet, and put them on a line with a purple ass Marvel Rivals background. So I mean, I'm not hating on it. I necessarily like I am excited for the stuff, but this, I mean, it doesn't seem like it warrants a big in person event at a California theater. But that's just me. Think about the taxes in California. You live there. You know what that must be
Yeah,
like.
for sure. And they made such a big deal out of it being like at the El Capitan and all that sort of stuff. It was just odd overall, and like having to go hunt for the news that was coming out from it was odd. But I also just think like not only was it this awesome opportunity to kind of pitch a very large tent to bring your community into and like but it's also a good time to kind of test your limits as a company and your reach and your impact for having an event like this like look, some people might not know this, but the Game Awards is pay to play. If you want to have a trailer in the Game Awards, you are paying Jeff Keighley an absurd amount of money to have your trailer in there. And that's what they did with the Deadpool trailer, right? And that's kind of like high risk, not high risk, high reward, but like high profile meeting the moment, like biggest character release to date. Here's the trailer for him at the biggest event we've shown up at since the release of the game. White Fox and Black Cat, much lower stakes, right? You can attach them to an event like that and just kind of see how much your own brand presence can kind of carry the moment versus having to spend an exorbitant amount of money to get in on some special showcase. Now, you were never going to reach the Game Awards viewership numbers, but you're going to reach a much more targeted, interested audience because I'm sure there's a lot of people who watch that trailer who don't give a damn about Marvel Rivals or hero shooters or competitive gaming at all, right? Whereas this one, you're talking to an audience that is already invested and interested. And I think if they would have put a little bit more effort and energy behind the production of it to have it be something that was live streamed on the Marvel Rivals Twitch account, that something that was played on the screens in Times Square, in game, like it could have been a really cool community moment. But they put out this announcement, it got people speculating, and then it was a little bit of a dud.
Yeah.
Um, Look, cool news about the PvE stuff, but even that, like you said, it's just a graphic. Like, what is there to get excited about other than the idea?
Hmm.
So, so yeah, hopefully they learn from this, and I think we have learned as well that we'll kind of slow play our excitement for these sorts of things, but certainly a missed opportunity. All right, Seth. Well, let's get out of here. We're gonna wrap it up there. That was um I think everything we had to say about the event. I think that's everything that was announced. I didn't miss anything, did I?
No, I think that's everything that I've seen. So unless like stuff's been popping off
Yeah.
on social media as we've been doing the show, then yeah, I think we covered it just about all.
Yeah. And we'll start to see stuff about season 7 here in a couple weeks. So next week, we will probably do a mid-season mailbag episode. So if you guys have questions you want us to answer during the topic section, whether it's about Marvel Rivals or just random off-the-wall questions, feel free to drop those in the comments as well. But Seth, before we get out of here, what are you getting up to in game this week?
I'm gonna keep trying to chip away at the mountain. I'm gonna slow down, which sounds weird to say because I haven't been playing as much. But like I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna try to be more consistent in my playing, but also be careful, step back, because I feel like once you get past one or two losses in a competitive session, like you just kind of like start digging yourself in a hole. Like you get in this funk or this mindset where you're like just nothing seems like it's working. So I feel like cutting it off is the right way to go. And also, like if nothing else, you just hang on to that rank a little bit longer, right?
Mhm.
So play a comp. If you lose, switch to quick play, whatever. Don't let it be like a thing that really affects your happiness or your spirit throughout the day.
Mhm. So I've been kind of, and I should have probably talked about this when we were talking about our weekend rivals, but I've been taking this little approach when I'm playing, where it's like today, if I'm playing quick play, I'm going to focus on one aspect of my gameplay, whether that's just like my aim. I'm really going to focus in on hitting my shots and being intentional about where I'm shooting. Really going to focus on my positioning. One of the big things I wanted to focus on this week was just getting the most value out of my ult. Because I feel like with Cloak and Dagger, one out of every three ults that I have is always kind of like, why did I do that right there? So I've been really kind of hard focusing on maximizing my ult usage, and I found that I'm holding ults for a little bit longer, probably, and maybe too long at certain points, but definitely trying to do a better job of assessing, like, okay, who on their team has ult, who are their DPS, what am I going to be able to counter, and using my ults to kind of help win fights more than just like using them off cooldown. So uh probably going to continue in those efforts. I want to play more ranked with you this week, get kind of firmly in diamond, back into diamond as well. So if we can get towards GM, I'm happy with that, but I'm also totally fine for that to be the mountain we climb in season 7. But uh yeah, I'm a little in the season 7 waiting room, and I'm just gonna try to have fun with the game these next 2 weeks and get as many fucking chrono tokens as humanly possible.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys, we're going to get out of here. But we appreciate you tuning in, listening. Make sure you're liking, subscribing, commenting, leaving us a 5-star review if you're listening over on Spotify. And until next week, everybody, we love you. Good luck in your games and good luck on the climb.
Good
Goodbye.
luck to you.